Hi, my name is Nunziata, and I'm a New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film, and I'm also a proud FENIX Global Artist Ambassador. Today, I am so excited to be speaking with the renowned photographer, videographer, editor, and visual artist. Their name, JAYDEN BECKER. For more on JAYDEN, you can read more about them right below this video. But in the meantime, here is a sneak peek at the amazing talent of JAYDEN.
Started to wonder how I managed to survive. Is it magic? How I always find a reason to panic, or how the moment I get...
Well, hello, JAYDEN. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing well, thank you. And I'm doing better because I'm meeting you today, and the audience just got a little sneak peek of your amazing talent. And by the way, they are many a talent, JAYDEN. You are a photographer, a videographer, an editor, and a visual artist. And I want to know where you grew up and when did you know that you had a love of so many disciplines within the arts?
Yeah, let's see. So I grew up, which is where I'm actually at right now. I grew up in Southern Oregon, in a really small town, kind of nestled in the hills. So just grew up around a lot of nature, which has had a really big influence on my art. I'd say like my photography style and video style is a really mixture of like a surreal aspect with nature, and then kind of like a high fashion, a little bit of high fashion thrown in there. And I love the contrast of mixing, you know, components that normally you don't see together. And I think growing up in a really like green, beautiful, tree-filled town has had a very large impact on that style. As well as then I was living in LA for the last 3 years. And so kind of having the mixture of city plus nature has really formed into like the style that I have right now. And so, yeah, you know, with photography and video, I got into that. Like art has always been something I've been super passionate about and drawn towards. It's always been like a form of self-expression, a way I can like, you know, get my emotions, process emotions that I otherwise wouldn't be able to, you know, with words. And so it's always been there in whatever form, whether that's like drawing or painting or doodling, or photography or video. It's always been something that I've been drawn to since I was super, super young. And I think with photography, which was what I kind of got into first, it was just like a way of being able to capture something that either something you're seeing with like your eye, or being able to capture something in a way that you don't normally see it with your, you know, regular eye. It's more manipulated, or you know, the perspective is warped, or the perspective is different. And I've always been really fascinated by you know, how else can you see this image outside of like what it looks like with your normal eyes. And yeah, I've always just loved, you know, experimenting with Photoshop. That was something I like downloaded when I was, I think, like 12, and was just so fascinated by it. And just like to this day, I'm constantly learning. It's such an in-depth. I'm same with like Premiere Pro and After Effects, which are more for video. But I love just being able to combine like you know, mixed media aspects, whether that's with outside media and then, you know, mixing it together with collages or stop motion. I love to have like a textures and layers all combined. Yeah, I feel like it's always ebbing and flowing too. It kind of just depends on where I'm at in life. But it's something that like art has always been there for me.
I love that, Jayden. And, you know, when I think about you, and I'm so grateful that this past week I've really been able to dive into, you know, your website and what's on it and all over the internet. So everyone, please take a look at what Jayden is putting out in the world. Jayden, you are like a painter. I feel like you look at everything with a blank canvas eye, and your ability to combine your love of still photography, visual art, video, and then as a creator, an artist, an editor, you're able to not only for other artists, but for yourself, create these. And I love that you mentioned that dichotomy, because I see it all over your artwork. And it's that juxtaposition of tension that gives it such a beautiful singular flair. I don't know, it just, I'm working on a theater piece right now, and it's about the life and times of Vincent van Gogh. And throughout all of Vincent van Gogh's work, I feel like there's like a certain pulse and a breath. And I feel that with you. And have you heard that from other people before in describing what you put out there in terms of your art?
I haven't, no. So thank you. I'll take it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. No, I haven't gotten that before. I appreciate that. It's always it's always fascinating seeing how different people interpret different art forms. You know, that I think that's one of the biggest things for me is like, regardless of like what, like I have an idea for what I'm creating something with, but it's always going to be different from what someone else is going to see it and feel. My hope is just that the artwork that I do create evokes some form of emotion or feeling in someone. And I think that ranges for everybody, because everybody has, you know, very different lives. So no, I haven't gotten that before, but I'm so glad that you said that. Thank you.
I mean, look at it, and I think about a time we're living in now, right? I mean, this has been and will continue to be a trauma, I think, for so many people. And I think of artists like you, Jayden, who have this immense ability to capture emotion in such a singular, unapologetic, beautiful, elegant way. And, you know, I was emotionally moved by so much of your work. And I love the fact that you really lean into just being unapologetically you with your art, and how beautifully transcendent and universal that is.
Thank you. Yeah. You know, it's been, I think when I was younger and kind of just going through school, middle school, high school, well, I guess before high school, but it was always like something I really enjoyed doing, and it was something I was really passionate about, but it never felt like it had like a deeper meaning, or it was never, I wasn't processing anything ever. So I lost my dad when I was 15 to cancer, and he was like my number one fan. He was an artist himself. And I mean, up until this day, art has become like something that I've been able to process like grief with, because it was so hard for me to process in words, or I just couldn't even like find the words to express how I was feeling. So it was like, art was literally like my saving grace in that. And I started a lot with stop motion, and doing like these stop motion painted portrait little short films that were so just like such a way of being able to like release trauma, release grief, and process that and kind of move through that. I don't think I would be where I'm at today, artist wise, but also just like mentally, if I didn't have art, if I didn't have a way of expressing my feelings. So yeah, that's been yeah, super important to me.
Wow, Jayden. Well, first off, thank you for, you know, being vulnerable enough to share that. But with learning that from you, I have to say that I did feel at times in viewing your work that there was a moving through a heaviness, a sorrow, a grief, but how beautiful. And I know that your dad is looking down on you so proud that you are able to take your craft and your deep connection with yourself to move through grief and pain to create something beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. I feel like, I mean, half the time I would be, I would feel it was almost just more of like an urge to create something. And then once it was done, I'd look back and be like, oh, wow, like that's what I was processing, or that's what I was moving through. And so many times I just wouldn't know what I was doing, or what I was processing until afterwards, and being able to just feel like a weight was lifted a bit, and being able to like, oh, okay, I can now, take another step forward and continue moving through life.
I love it. Well, listen, your art is so evocative, provocative. It's filled with emotion and it's filled with great. I just wanted to like talk with someone after it. When you see great art and you just like want to like converse with someone, that's what I feel about
Thank you.
your work.
Oh my God.
Well, I speak the truth, Jayden, and we just met, but I feel like I've had a lot pent up this week. So thank you for making this about me right now. But I also
go for it. Yes.
I'm also really excited, you coming on board this groundbreaking social media platform that's not going to only, get your work out there to more eyeballs on it in terms of fans, but I'm excited for you to meet other artists around the world. I've already met so many beautiful artists, and I'm already collaborating with in the East. And great art, like I said, is transcendent and universal, and you have that it factor. And I'm just so thrilled and grateful that we had this short time today, but I can't wait to just continue to be in touch, Jayden. You're an incredibly special talent. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Hey, it's the truth, and it's my truth. But you know what? I have to say, Jayden, I have good taste. And you, my friend,
I'm flattered. Thank you.
You really are incredible. And again, I just want everyone to please read more about Jayden below this video, but please check out their amazing website. And they are all over the interwebs. And Jayden, I can't wait to speak with you again soon.
Me too.
In the digital age, artists and bands struggle to make a living. In fact, only a small number of artists can live off their craft. For the 98% of artists that don't have the luxury of being signed to a label, it's tough. But artists deserve to live off their art. Wherever you are around the world, appreciation of music does not change. FENIX brings bands and their fans together, whilst allowing bands to properly monetize their passion. The FENIX app will directly connect bands and fans with no need for middlemen. We're utilizing the blockchain to give the power back to the artist once and for all. Join FENIX, join the change.